week's episode is all about my biggest mistakes when building my businesses. Let's start off with one that I think is really important, and that is productive work versus busy work. Now, productive work is actually you accomplishing tasks, crossing things off your to do list, checking all the boxes. Busy work is more like just continually organizing, finding a better way to plan your projects, doing all the things. I have to say that is one part that I really love. Like, I'm always testing out new gadgets, new apps. I love that part of being in business, but I have to remember that busy work does not pay the bills. Being productive, checking things off the list is huge, especially when you have a team depending on you to move things along. I know that I talk about our podcast a lot, but this is one of the most important examples because there's so many hands that make this process work, and it all starts with me. So if I get lazy and don't do something in the time that is required to do it, that creates a massive bottleneck for everybody else. And it truly is the trickle down theory of if I don't get something done on a Sunday, then that can't go up, can't get posted to social media, and it can't go out to all of our fans and followers through our email blasts. It's just a matter of getting behind sometimes can get you even farther behind. And keep in mind, too, that most people that are on social media, myself included, it's not perfect. The system is never perfect, even though it might look that way. There are still struggles that we work through as a team to make sure that everything happens on time and when it's supposed to. So make sure that you get past the point of just organizing and planning. You actually have to do the thing because even though that is a big part for me, the organizing and planning, actually getting into the task and getting things done, it actually is completely different than what you may have thought it started out as. Again, the podcast started out as something completely different. Like, we've evolved over these past 44 weeks of doing this. And I don't think that we would be in this place if I was still back at that very beginning stage of just planning. There's something to be said for actually getting out and doing the work and then adjusting as things happen. My other mistake was networking too much. And right now this is a little bit different because a lot of us aren't going to networking groups or, things like that because we're still under lockdown. But before, for me, that was huge. I was networking every single day of the week, sometimes a couple times a day, and it just started to become too much for me. And I realized that, again, like my busy versus productive work, this too was becoming a sort of busy work. I was becoming part of these groups, which was great. There are people that I met during those networking groups that I am still friends with, and I love that we have been able to work together on different projects. So don't get me wrong when I say that networking is not a great thing, because it truly is. You just have to be mindful of how much you're doing it, because it literally can take over a huge, huge chunk out of your week. And you really need to be consistent in revisiting, is this good for my business? Am I getting business from it? Does it light me up every single day? Or is it preventing me from getting work done? Is there things that are not happening because I'm so focused on doing things for those networking groups? It's very easy to get sucked in to be on the board or a position of, getting things done for these organizations, because they are looking for eager hands and people that can actually get the work done. But you want to remain focused on the fact that you are there for your business to earn up other people's business and teach people about your business. So don't forget that. Another one is expecting employees to care about your business like you do. Now, I have had some amazing employees, I really have, and I've also had some not so amazing employees. So, one thing that you have to keep in mind is that this business that you are creating is your baby. It is your blood, sweat, and tears, and you can't expect employees who have not been there from the beginning. Like, if you started your business from your garage or your kitchen table, your employees weren't there for that part of it. They're not going to understand. They're not going to have the same skin in the game as you do. And so making sure that you remember that your employee came 5 years into the business, 7 years into the business, whatever that number is, whenever they arrived, keep in mind that they don't have the same feelings that you do. And so, this is why communicating with them in multiple different ways is so important. I know I've talked about different ways to communicate with team members on the podcast. So, definitely check out one of those previous episodes because it is worth its weight in gold to make sure that you are communicating with your team effectively. There are so many misunderstandings that can happen over email, over text, because it's so ambiguous. There's something about getting on the phone, getting on a call, and saying, hey, listen, I think there might be something that was lost in translation. Let's talk about this to make sure that everybody feels like they are a valued member of the team. Another big one, spending too much money and not knowing it. You really have to keep tight reins on your business, especially when you're a gadget girl like me and there's always a new app, always a new gadget, something that's going to make your life easier or something in your business that you really want to jump into. But let's be honest, you might not be ready for it. So you've got to keep tight reins on your budget and your bank statement and credit card statements to make sure that you're not overspending money without realizing it. Now, something that I do all the time, and I've talked about before, is making sure that you know what's coming out of your checking accounts and your credit card statements. But it even happens to me. Just the other day, I realized there's a charge on my account for something that I signed up for that was a free trial. That's how they get you, and it was still charging me, but I haven't used the system since. So make sure that you're consistently reviewing those bank statements, reviewing your online banking to make sure that something doesn't slip through the cracks, and really evaluating what do you need to be spending and what do you not. Because honestly, technology is amazing and great, but sometimes you don't want to purchase something until you're truly ready for it. So start a notebook with a list about what things that you would like to eventually upgrade to and just continue to add things to it. This one's a big one, and it's pretty much the kind of the catalyst for my entire story and why Scale Your Small Business even exists today, is because I really loved doing everything myself all the time. And you can imagine how that swallowed up my life in one giant gobble. When I was in a fender bender that turned into a much worse accident, really affected my brain. I got a concussion. I mean, it messed me up for years. That was when I was forced into making the decision that I needed to delegate and get help. Now, I remember sitting at an Infusionsoft conference many years before the accident happened, and there was a gentleman that was speaking about how he had a heart attack and how it affected his business. And his whole speech was wrapped around the fact that you needed to make sure that your business was in a place where it could survive without you. However, even listening to that speech, I clearly didn't get it because I was still doing everything myself until that accident forced me to make a change. So, this is my opportunity to tell you, don't wait until it's too late. Don't wait until there's an accident, a health event, some huge change in your life that prevents your business from moving forward because you are the person that is literally doing everything. That is not a place that you want to be. And if you don't learn it from him, learn it from me, because it will happen. It will open your eyes and you'll realize, holy smokes. I remember when Jill told me I needed to get it together and get some help. If you're looking for a sign, this is it. This is me telling you, you've got to get some help. You can't do it all yourself. Okay. This is probably the biggest one. This is what I tell people every single time. Do not use your cell phone for your business. The hardest part about separating your personal and your business life is if you have one cell phone, if you allow business clients to call your personal cell phone, if you give that out all the time to anybody, anywhere, you will encounter people that do not respect boundaries. People will call you all hours of the day and night, whether it's a holiday, Christmas. I remember one of my clients, it was Christmas Eve, and I said, oh, and they said to me, hey, can we talk tomorrow? And I said, well, tomorrow's Christmas Day. And they said, well, I don't celebrate Christmas Day. but I do. It was just interesting to me how people will ask many things of you and not realize that that's not something you're interested in. So, my biggest piece of advice, either get a separate cell phone, get a Google Voice, get a VoIP system, whatever it is, start your business with the personal and business separate. Now, you might feel like a bit of a dork carrying around two phones, then you can go the VoIP route, which has an app on your phone, but do not combine both because it will be extremely hard to shut it off when you get super busy. And you will. It's hard in the beginning when you only have a couple clients and you're only working with them. And it doesn't seem like that big of a deal to give out your personal cell phone. But trust me, from experience, you will get so busy and that cell phone number will be on the internet and it will be a giant pain in the neck to get off that people will still call your personal cell phone even when you've had a business line for years. It's crazy how people keep your phone number saved in their phone and they just continue to use that phone number even though you've called, emailed, text, whatever it might be, that you're not using that phone line anymore, that they need to call your business one. Just start off with a completely separate number. It will save your bacon every single time.